So I just have to tell you guys, we started this conference in 2010, okay? Yeah. Ever since 2010, I've been writing letters to ISRO. And I have to thank Mr. Vijay Raghavan here. I've been bugging the hell out of him for the last 3 days and saying, did you call Mr. Somnath? Did you call Dr. Somnath? So all these things, so big thanks to our community. This is how we make miracles happen, is people in the community help us. And Jija, if you're here. So anyway, let's dive right into it. You know, one of the things, I want to address something unusual up front, is that earlier when we were talking, you said, whether it's success or failure, for a scientist, it's the same. I mean, we are all like crying and all this stuff, but for you, it's just another day maybe. So you were there in Chandrayaan 2 when it failed, and Chandrayaan 3 when it succeeded. So tell us a little bit about the two experiences.
Yeah, and good afternoon to all. It's a different experience for us being here for such an event, being in such an event. So to start with, yes, Chandrayaan 2, when we had taken up, Chandrayaan 2 by itself is a very challenging mission because it is unlike other satellites which we were originally working, like the remote sensing mission or the communication satellites. So unlike that, Chandrayaan 2 is a landing mission. It's a moon landing mission. Landing is totally different ball game as compared to other satellite missions. So when we took up, we were well aware that what sort of challenge it is, because it's something totally different, new project. So a lot of new technologies had to be built in. So we were learning from the literatures available, and we were trying to build a lander, and we have to make it fully capable enough before launching. So with respect to the total configuration, the tests, because what is going to work on moon, we have to test it here before we send. So we did thorough testing, simulations, everything, and we had put our 100% effort with full commitment, and we had done it. So when we do such a scale of the project, yes, we are working for a success. That is definite. But what we saw was not 100%, but to a great extent we could demonstrate all the technologies what we had built. So when we saw what had really happened on that day, on Chandrayaan 2 landing day, we could not succeed in soft landing, but we almost reached the target by demonstrating many of the satellites. So it was difficult to digest, definitely. But after that, we had to come in terms with what has actually happened. And we received a good amount of data. Data, when we say what we get from the satellite, from the lander, whatever data, telemetry data we got, we thoroughly analyzed. So from there, our next journey has started. So that is the day when we have almost started working towards the next mission. So we analyzed the data, and then we were equipping ourselves to know really what has happened, and then a new team was formed. So that's how again Chandrayaan 3 has started, because failures cannot be a definition, like it is a process. We learn from that and we try to do our best to make it into a success. So that's how Chandrayaan 3 was formed, and then we started working towards that.
So, you know, one of the other things, I was very stuck. I've been to ISRO office. It's a very simple office. Nobody has like these huge corner offices or anything. And I even remember I met somebody very senior, and they used the same bathroom at the end of the row. I mean, just tell us a little bit about where do you come from. And we live in a world today where a young person says, oh, unless you give me 3 lakhs a month, I don't come. I need this car, that car, and things. Whereas ISRO is filled with people who doesn't, I mean, maybe it's an overstatement, don't seem to care about money as much as accomplishment. It's a certain culture that's there. I don't know how you do it, you know, so you want to, and tell me a little bit about where do you both come from and why are you at ISRO?
Okay, she comes from Chennai, and I'm from southern part of Tamil Nadu. I had my schooling, college in the Tirunelveli district, and from there, I straight away after the studies, I looking for a job, and I got into ISRO, and yeah, after getting into ISRO, I felt where it's really, really interesting. So it's you were asking about the money part. Yeah, money is definitely important, but at the same time, you have the satisfaction of the working and the security a government job gives. Both matters. That's mainly the passion with which works. And what I felt is I could see what I studied, I could implement there. It's not something different. So, see, for example, I did digital signal processing. That was imaginary subject. It felt like when I was studying. So when I joined ISRO, I could hands-on on it. So that's many of the people we are stuck to ISRO mainly because of the passion or the interest or the satisfaction what you get from the job, as well as you have a lot of freedom, right? It's not like if you feel you can do something better or you want to take up something you want to do in a new field, you have the freedom. Always you can propose, and there is a lot of freedom even in the meetings. Even a yesterday joined person has, his voice has an impact, and you can impact, and you have a lot of freedom to do what you like. So it's a compromise, not the money alone what it brings. So this is how, that's what I feel people stuck to ISRO.
Yeah. How about you, Kalpana?
Yeah, I 100% agree with what Madam has been sharing. That is what makes ISRO work. So the culture or the work culture which is there, it may not be, as you said, it is not the high funder things which actually motivates. The work itself motivates. What we do only is the first motivating factor. If you see our Chandrayaan 3 team, it's a huge team actually, because it's a very big project where many aspects are involved. It's a huge team. And
how many people are in the team?
No, it's like the structure is like this. We have a project director, along with him our associate project directors. We have around some 33 deputy project directors, and along with each deputy project director, we have project management, hundreds of project managers, and along with project managers, there are system engineers. So it goes like this. It's an organizational tree or a team structure, I can tell. So the team by itself is motivated to achieve something, to goal. So that itself drives us actually. So all work towards that, and the work what we see, it's an end-to-end product what we are seeing. We start with a mission goal and we complete the goal. So it is not like that you can feel the success of the project, because we start with a goal and we complete the goal. So that end goal, when you achieve, that itself gives the motivation for the next project.
And you know, in something like this, it's so huge that failures are also very often. I mean, it's not just like you try something and it works. What is the team ethos? What is it that keeps people saying, okay, that didn't happen? Is it like a scientific bend of mind that says everything won't work? Is it just one more thing? Or is there a particular ethos in the company, in the organization, that you keep talking about, it's okay if we failed? What is it that keeps people going no matter what happens?
It's not that openly we keep talking it. It's not that there are no mantras which we keep telling it out, or it's not like big motivational talks itself. It's gelled with the work, I feel like. Our team meetings, what we discuss, it's more of, I feel like, micro targets, like it's more of micromanagement. Our nearest goals, we have to finish this. We start with like the total satellite building is involved various steps. It's towards the end goal, but there are various micro goals involved in between. We work towards that. One test we plan, we have to finish that. So all full team structure will work towards that. There are, for Chandrayaan, if you see, like there were many special things we did as compared to any other satellites. Like, because what is going to happen on the moon environment, we have to test it here. So we had a lot of special tests. We had to do it in a different terrain conditions. So we had to take it, we had to do a test in a helicopter, we have to evaluate it. So these things we work toward this, so this test we have to finish it. So I feel that micro targets what we set for ourselves itself is also a motivation factor actually.
And also I think we only know whatever is happening now, right? So we're all Chandrayaan 3 because that's what we just saw. But there's a lot of work I mean, today what you do is important, tomorrow what she does is important. It's not like there's only one thing that ISRO does. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, actually ISRO started with the founder Vikram Sarabhai. That time the goal of ISRO is to have the application of the technology for the betterment of the countrymen. So we started with initially with the applications. We have lot of application spacecrafts for remote sensing, communication, navigation and all. So each spacecraft, see you, as you told, you know only Chandrayaan 3, Aditya and all, because each spacecraft is similar to that, and each spacecraft attachment work is involved. And initial days we had lot of failures because we were in the learning stage and we were in the incubation stage. So we had lot of spacecrafts, and we are still, our data is being used by entire ministries, and communication transponders is being leased, and also we are earning, and navigation is going to be used like GPS. So it came. So finally, once our the goal of utilizing that technology for the betterment is somewhat satisfied, and we have self-sufficiency, then we entered into that interplanetary missions. It's a more of a science mission. So generally, it's something which is very difficult, very first time, very new. Everybody will be interested, right?
Yeah.
And we also feel equally that's very challenging. And so that's how now it's known, and ISRO is known. We are very proud with these missions. Everybody is talking about ISRO. Everybody is knowing the good work what ISRO is doing. And also it's, ISRO is, as a government organization, it's very different. And it has its own culture. It's not like other organizations.
What is that? In what way is it different than any government organization?
Yeah, that, see, our ISRO culture is, first thing is we work towards a goal, right? See, we have a schedule and we have a time to finish the job, and we have a very good review system. And earlier what I told, that freedom. See, everyone can, in a meetings, anyone can get up and say, view their ideas. So it's all thanks to our founders who inculcated such a culture from the beginning. And it is, each one of ISRO is very self-motivated. It's, nobody needs to motivate them. It's by the goal, they will get self-motivated. So that's how ISRO goes, and all these last almost 50 years we have been in this field, and we have done a lot of things. But now, because it's a challenging one, going to the planetary, and we are all on par with the international space agencies, so we are coming to the light.
How many years have you each been with ISRO?
I have been in ISRO for the last 35 years.
35.
Yeah.
And you?
23.
23.
Almost come.
Okay. So, I mean, I think it's very important to build a culture for the, institutional intelligence to stay with it also, because when someone moves every year, it's very difficult to build that. One of the things you did talk about is being on par with international organizations. But I think what separates us, and maybe some of it is because we have the advantage of work that has been done, but still, like the entire, they keep writing that the entire Chandrayaan mission costs less than a Hollywood movie or something like that. So what do you think, I mean, what is the cost differential, and what do you think enables us to do that?
See, cost-wise, it is like when we build the mission, what is really involved for building of the mission, we really very consciously work out. That's how we budget. When any project, when we start off, there is a budget what we work out for the particular project. It involves various segments, the space segment, the launch segment, and the ground segment. All these three are the major factors for a complete mission. All these three put together, what is really required for the mission. Anyway, our workforce is our organizational manpower, which is available. And apart from that, our facilities, we have established facilities. And for example, Chandrayaan 3, when it came up, we had already facilities which were established at the time of Chandrayaan 2, which we will be optimally utilizing. So there are various aspects which we will keep in mind to bring out the budget. We optimize the budget and bring out it in an effective way. Because the resource utilization, we optimize to the best possible. But whatever the quality of the components or whatever is really going to fly, we take the utmost care and choose the best. But there are other factors which we can optimize in a good way and bring out the cost in a very reasonable manner. So there are various factors which go into the cost of the project.
Yeah. And also, was there what was different about Chandrayaan 3? You tried before it didn't work. Was there something you did this time that made it successful?
Definitely, many things we have done.
And we don't need to tell the trade secrets, but
No
in
problem.
general.
No, in general, definitely, because everyone
Yeah.
can really get a
Right,
feel
yeah.
of it, because a lot of good work has gone. See, after that's what, when I started, I told, when Chandrayaan 2, when the power descent phase happened and we could not fully soft land, further when we started the Chandrayaan 3 mission, we systematically worked out the total Chandrayaan 3 last 4-year period, we systematically worked out. To begin with, first we had to understand what happened in Chandrayaan 2, because that is the first beginning aspect. So with the data available, we have thoroughly analyzed the data. We had a failure analysis committee. So we understood the root cause of the problem. This is very important. So that is the first beginning of the mission. And after understanding, when we are building again, Chandrayaan 3 is again a new lander and propulsion module and rover together we are going to build. So now when we are going to build this mission, so first thing is whatever we have understood, we have to rectify. So rectification is the first thing. Apart from that, we have to strengthen also. Like we have to strengthen in all aspects, like we call the reconfiguration of the satellite. So we had to build the robustness of the total lander, and also build in more 100% redundancy. Redundancy, when one fails, there is one sort of failure, there should be other system which takes over. So lot of fault detection and isolation schemes we built. And then particularly for that, whatever all would have seen, that 20 minutes of the power descent phase, that is a totally autonomous landing sequencer. That is the main difference compared to any other mission. So it is a completely autonomous landing what you have seen. There is no human intervention at all. So the lander has to, a lot of intelligence has to be built in. So the lander has to think on its own for any sort of failure which is going to come in. It has to think and take an alternate path or alternate route of descent. So for this, what we had to do is, we had to think in all aspects what all can fail. So what all the possible failures can come, we have to think on the failure basis, and you build the intelligence in the lander such that it can handle that situation. So for this is what we called as dispersion handling. So suppose an engine has to give a particular X thrust, it can never be X.0. There can be a certain amount of dispersion or tolerance with it. So for this, how much of dispersion you can handle, that is your robustness. So the more and more dispersion you can handle, it is like you are building a more and more stronger system. So that way, this dispersion handling capability we have built to a great extent. Fine, we have built the satellite now. Now, how do we test it? So whatever we have built, we have to test it thoroughly. So one is testing, another one is simulation. So you can put it in two common words. Testing is really you take an equivalent of a lander, you take to the field and you test it. So the engines have to fire, your navigation, guidance and control, closed loop what we tell, it has to be tested thoroughly. So for this, we did good amount of test on field. We did it, we called the integrated cold test. We took it to a helicopter and tested it for that velocities. You know, when it is coming, it's going to come with a greater velocities. So at that velocity, you test it. We took it to, we had a tower crane built and the complete lander in firing condition with the engines firing, we had tested. Again, the legs, you would have seen the lander legs, right, when landed. So the legs were strengthened to handle more touchdown velocities. Finally, when you say soft landing, what you mean is, it has to land with a very lower velocity of the order of, say, less than 2 meters per second or near to 0 meter per second. So for this legs we had strengthened, you test it. So this is part 3, what I said. So testing. So you do rigorous testing so that you are very confident of whatever I said, you built it, you have tested it. And everything you cannot test, you have to simulate also, because various failure conditions, you cannot do everything on field. So you create lot of simulations. We call 6-stop simulations, oil simulations, like this different simulations, Monte Carlo simulations. So you do very exhaustive simulations. I feel this is the strength of Chandrayaan 3. So when we were ready to launch it, when we placed it to our review committees, we have very thorough review committees where many experts are there. So we are the team working, but we have very big expert team, senior experts. They reviewed it thoroughly, and then we were ready for launch and landing.
Yeah.
This is the strength of the total Chandrayaan 3 mission. When we went with confidence, but this is the background for that.
Yeah, just
Great.
to add,
Yeah.
just to add here, It's space, as you know, it's very unpardoning. So how well you anticipate the failure cases, that's lies the success. So maybe Chandrayaan 2, we missed some of the few failure cases, we didn't test it, and we have improved over it. And this way, how well you anticipate all the cases and see the permutation combination you see, it's a huge number of cases and it requires a lot of testing time. So all the cases you test it, and because you know it's a remote, once you leave the spacecraft, we don't know what's happening, it's only remotely. We know from the data what it sends. We have to infer the health of the status and what it's doing and how to control it. So it's mainly, the bottom line is how well you anticipate. That's how your testing starts.
We built a system to handle many, many failures. But actually on that day what you saw was a perfect nominal landing. We did not face any sort of non-nominalities. It was a textbook landing what we saw, which was the one which gave us 100% satisfaction.
So it's good not to be as good in testing and good in landing as opposed the other way around, right?
We built it capable enough to handle many, many failure conditions. But what really happened was a perfect textbook landing, which was, we could not take our eyes off it actually.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you think is next? What is it that ISRO wants to be, say, 50 years from now? What do you both would like to see happen?
Yeah, 50 years from the world over, all the space agency is thinking of colonizing the other planets. That's the ultimate, colonizing the other planets. That's the ultimate goal of almost all over the world. Any space agency, that's the goal.
Yeah.
So we also will move towards it, not as competing with some other agency or anything. Always our goal lies with the technology application to the common man. So that will be our goal. In addition to that, we will be doing a lot of science experiments, and also we will attempt landing on the moon, and that moon is setting up as a base for further moving towards the other planets. Because as you see, straight away if you have to travel to the Mars, it requires 9 months. 9 months a human has sitting in the vehicle, just to imagine. So we have to build better systems to make the time shorter, or better provision, or that's how people are thinking of having an intermediate base at moon. So have a halt there, and then go and utilizing the resources of the other planets for the betterment of the earth. Anyway, we are spoiling the earth, so we have to look for other resources from other planets, like energy or the minerals, whatever there are minerals, what you have. We are also moving towards what the world thinks.
What would you say? What would you like to say?
Definitely we have a roadmap lined up. Always we have, there is always a future plan which we write down for our program. That is called our ISRO program. So Chandrayaan, yes, we have landed. Soft landing we have demonstrated. Definitely will be going next step. Like we will have a sample return missions, manned missions, and then we also have, as you know, you would have seen from the papers, we have the Gaganyaan mission and other interplanetary missions like going to Venus and Mars. Anyway, we have done the orbiter, so we'll have some Mars landing missions. Like that, many missions are there. These are all planetary missions. Apart from that, also we have many technology demonstration missions, like docking we have to demonstrate, which is in line. And that will be very good for having our own space stations. So these are all steps towards. For a bigger goal, to reach the bigger goal, we have to work. Before that, we have to have in line what are all required for that. So all the associated technology demonstration, we should keep doing and to achieve the bigger goal. So that's how.
So my last question to both of you is, we were talking a lot in the last couple of days about, like, mental illness, mental depression, loneliness. This is like very, very much so #1 cause of in the health world today. And there's a lot of young people, there's a lot of conversations. We also had a talk today about difference between values versus valuation, etc. And maybe it relates a little bit to my money question, but it's a little larger in terms of, while you may be feeling that around you the world is saying, have you bought designer sarees, how big a house you have, what kind of car are you driving. You see it around you all the time. You know, and you've stayed 33 years, 23 years, so obviously you don't have a FOMO, you don't have a fear of missing out. But do you ever feel that, oh, should I do something else? Or what is your answer to somebody who says, why don't you work somewhere else where you can get 10 times as much money, you can get a much bigger house, you can get a much bigger thing. Why are you staying here? Because I stayed at Intel for 12 years. So many of my friends looked at me like I am like a failed person. You know, you stay in the same company for 12 years, like what's wrong with you? Well, there's this stuff going on around you. But I'm like, I get to work with Andy Grove, I get to work with Gordon Moore, so I don't feel it's a waste. But I'm just saying, there is this subtle pressure from the rest of the world about physical things you can own. So what's your answer? Do you ever feel sometimes that, am I missing out, or
No,
you don't even think about that?
Yeah, it's, as far as you are human, you will always think about that. Whenever, how self-controlled you are also, when a neighbor frequently triggers it, and then you also feel it. But it's again depends on ultimately what you want. And it is an individual perception. And but I feel this, whatever you said, all those things, when you are, you have to have a strong self so that the environment doesn't affect you. So it maybe look like philosophy, but it gives a lot of peace, peace for you. And okay, I feel the minimum things, okay, it's a car is required for your own, for the transportation, and a house is required. But beyond certain point, I feel it doesn't have a big meaning. Whether you travel in a small car or a big car, it's ultimately the comfort is the same. I feel maybe some, for a range difference of crores and what you get, I don't think it's worth aspiring for it or working for that. See, it depends on one. I feel I'm very peaceful, and as far as I'm concerned, going to office, working in ISRO, it's feel like I'm doing my hobby, and daily I'm doing my hobby. So that way, ultimately, I am peace to myself.
How about you, Kalpana? What do you feel?
Yeah, as long as you're doing what you love, that itself gives you the contention actually. So you're contented when you are doing something what you really love, and your everyday morning you take out your bag to go do something. Something is there to motivate you, or there is a target for you to do really, and that itself drives you to the office. So there should not be some pressure pulling you to the office. So your passion will drive you to the best manner of working actually. And there is a difference between essential things and luxurious things. I think at least if you ask us at this point of time, we are very clear, at least at this age, what is essential and what is really luxury. Definitely we need certain things. We need a house, we need to go from one place to another, you need basic things we need. You need a vehicle, that is fine. But there is never an end to what you keep on wishing for actually. This difference, I think, most of us are almost aware now.
Yes.
So other things are not at all a point of interest. But as long as you do what you love, that itself gives you immense peace is what I feel. And yes, this generation, in the beginning you told, the younger generation, they should be motivated to do something really what they love to do and something interesting to drive their life. Otherwise, they are into some other factors which is really not good for their growing up. A lot of motivating things should be there in life. I think a success, see, if you like Chandrayaan, if you take a project, work towards this, and when you see the success, that gives you more thrill actually. That younger generation should know what is really thrilling. Actually, they are going into they should not be going into falser things. The real work, education, and the thrill from that should be brought into them so that they all also work towards that. I think really younger generation should be given some more motivating tasks also in colleges or next level of their life also. That will drive them, I think. They are all are very talented and very well educated. The present education is very good actually. Only thing, they also should be more motivated with very different tasks, is what I feel.
So I want to end by two questions, one question to each of you. You speak Telugu, Malayalam, or what?
Yeah.
Malayalam. I would love in your own language, say something for the young people. What would you like to say? Because there are people in those little villages, little towns who may not understand English. I want them to be inspired by you. So what would you like to tell a young girl sitting, I don't know, in some small town outside Guntur or something?
Okay, young girls, when I say ఎడ్యుకేషన్ చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ముఖ్యంగా గర్ల్స్ గురించి చెప్పాలంటే ఇండిపెండెంట్గా ఉండాలి. ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఈజ్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్. వీలైనంత వరకు ఛాన్స్ మీ ఇంట్లో వాళ్ళు మోటివేట్ చేస్తే మంచిది, లేకపోయినా ఆ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ మీరు ఫీల్ అవ్వాలి. ఫస్ట్ థింగ్ ఇస్ బేసిక్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఫాలోడ్ బై హయ్యర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తెప్పించుకోండి, అది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. నెక్స్ట్ ఫినాన్షియలీ కూడా ఇంపార్టెంట్గా, వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో మీరు ఫినాన్షియలీ ఇండిపెండెంట్గా ఉండాలి. సో హస్బెండ్ చూసుకుంటారు, బ్రదర్ చూసుకుంటారు, ఫాదర్ చూసుకుంటారు అనేది ఓకే, బట్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్ ఇస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో దానికి చదువు చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో నన్ను అడిగితే నేను ఫస్ట్ ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏం చెప్తానంటే, ప్రతి ఒక్క అమ్మాయి విలేజ్లో ఉన్నా సరే, ఎక్కడున్నా సరే, ఆ బేసిక్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ తెప్పించుకోండి, బాగా చదవండి. అండ్ మీరు ఇండిపెండెంట్గా ఉండే ఆ స్తోమత తెప్పించుకోవాలి, అది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. అది మీకు లైఫ్లో చాలా కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ ఇస్తుంది. అందరూ ఉన్నారు లేదని లేదు, పేరెంట్స్ ఉన్నారు, బ్రదర్స్, సిస్టర్స్, హస్బెండ్ అందరూ ఉన్నారు, కానీ మీరు ఇండిపెండెంట్గా ఉన్నది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్ అనేది నా ఒక
గ్రేట్.
I'll tell in Tamil. கடின உழைப்பு, அப்புறம் பண்ணுற வேலையில் ஈடுபாடு, அது ரெண்டும் என்றைக்குமே கைவிடாது. அண்ட் என்ன பண்ணாலும் அதில் ஒரு ஈடுபாட்டோட உங்களோட பெஸ்ட்டை கொடுத்து பண்ணிங்கன்னா ஆல்வேஸ் நீங்கள் வந்து எப்போவுமே ஒரு தோல்வி அடைய மாட்டீங்க. அண்ட் லாஸ்ட்டாக வந்து நான் இதை மாதிரி ஒரு பண்ண முடியும்னா ஈச் ஒன் ஆஃப் யூ ஆர், உங்கள் எல்லாராலும் உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச மாதிரி எல்லாமே பண்ண முடியும். அந்த கான்ஃபிடென்ஸ் யூ ஷுட், அந்த கான்ஃபிடென்ஸும் தன்னம்பிக்கையும் இருந்தால் எல்லாத்தையும் ஜெயிக்கலாம், சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கலாம்.
Great. So I just want to say that I know you both are representatives of ISRO, more than individuals. So while we celebrate you, we are actually celebrating the thousands of people who are working there, and we really thank you for taking the time to come here, not as individuals, but as a representatives of something much larger. And really, this is a dream come true, personally for me, for the entire INK community, and especially, I know Vipasha will not leave the job with me right now, because I delivered the one thing she cares about. So, thank you so much for your time, and this is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I want to, you all enjoy, you're having a good time at the conference, right? Yeah. So to deliver something like this, literally we called them yesterday, I think, and been on the phone with them to bring. If not, there is one person, I think, who represents what INK Conference is more than anyone else in this world. And I would love for Nandini to come onto the stage. Because this is really, it's her persistence. She's been on the phone with them, arranging the cars. Come up. Big standing ovation for the person who makes everything happen. And it's her birthday today. She's going to hate me. Come here. So we knew each other at Intel in 95. And this is a great, great moment for me. So thank you. I really want all of you to stop by and thank her, because but for her, we wouldn't be here. I really want to thank both of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Plus 5 seconds.
Lift off normal, PO tracking.
R2 tracking.
tracking. First stage performance normal. P for tracking. L1 turn stage ignited.
Plus 2 minutes.
L1 turn stage performance normal. Stages are separated. Closed loop guidance initiated.